Welcome to today's episode of Spice and Nice.
I am Amanda Spice.
And I'm Denise the Nice. Luckily, we've do this for 3 years, so we're no longer surprised at anything that comes.
we will start is we have an introduction, but who cares?
And I was also like, where did our introduction go? Okay, yeah. So today we are going to talk about something that is one of our favorite topics to talk about: gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude as a staying in Singapore. I
Yep.
think everybody knows that the hottest topic now in Singapore is Singapore, obviously.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
And that's a reason why we are not going to talk about politics today for sure. It's just about how, as a Singaporean, I feel. Maybe today I will talk more because I'm a Singaporean, right? So I
Yes.
can liberously talk about other Singaporeans.
Please do it.
Because as a foreigner, it's like I cannot talk about Vietnam.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm not Vietnamese. I do not know the
Yes.
culture well, but I'm a Singaporean, so I can
Yeah.
talk about other Singaporeans.
Well, you have the
Okay.
right to do it.
Yeah.
Let
first of
me
all-
interview Denise today.
Oh yeah, interview. Yeah,
let
that's
let
great.
me do the
Okay,
right
let's
job.
do.
So, as a Singaporean that been travel around the world, because you used to be cabin crew,
Yes.
and then and also you've been interact with a lot of foreigner, but not in Singapore, but outside Singapore. And with the situation around the world right now, I'm sorry, I'm stack up
I
question.
am laughing in incredulity. Because
My-
it's-
In my coaching training right now,
you should not stack
I think if
questions.
you're watching my video, I think you already minus point for me, right? Because I'm not allowed to
stack
stack up
questions.
question. Yeah, really, they mark down me if
Because
they do it.
coaching, you're supposed to question by question. Because
Yes,
I very hard
that's
to-
right.
But it's okay, it doesn't matter.
But I have
am
a reason to
non-different.
do it, so
Yeah.
I'm stuck up 3. So my last one is what and how you feel as a Singaporean right now when you stuck in the middle of a lot of dramas. In internet is something, watching video, TikTok and stuff.
It's everyday punch to my face. I
Yes,
see.
yeah,
How
so-
do I?
Feel and what is your view as a Singaporean about it?
As a Singaporean, okay, everybody knows that I love to be young. Right?
Mm.
One of my biggest fear is missing out and being old or not trendy. That's one of my biggest fears.
Mm.
So at the risk of sounding like an old millennial, which I am, I will say Singaporeans, you need to be more grateful and open your eyes wider.
Mm.
Because a lot of the times I have conversations around me and they talk about how the Singapore government can do better, can do this. And recently there's a lot of talk, right, about how we should reduce the pay of certain ministers or what's that? Yes, and they have free education, free everything, right? But as a Singaporean, okay, let me just put it this way. We have the current acting prime minister. He's only been in office for 1 year. Did you guys see how much he has aged? This is not me putting him down, okay? But as somebody, I am sure all of you, I think you would agree. Think about it this way. You think about how much hours he's putting into his job, how much brain he is using. That is the reason why he's aging so quickly. And the reason why I say this is because if you look across the board, all our ministers,
Mm.
it's like the life is sucked out of them. I don't mean that in a bad way because they are putting in so much effort into their jobs, right? And I had this discussion with one of my friends talking about pay cuts for ministers. Okay, for me, right, I feel if I were given a certain amount of pay from an employee's point of view, lah. Okay, for example, today I go to the office, you only pay me $3,000. You think I do overtime for you?
Mm.
No. Would you do overtime for $3,000 a month? You would not. Would you burn all your weekends and work late every night for $3,000 a month? Of course not. Okay. Would you would you not be able to spend your birthdays, your holiday, your loved one's birthday, miss your children, school outing, etc. for $3,000 a month? I think the answer is no. So if you are thinking about let's just look at the bigger picture and the longer picture. Okay, Singapore is known as a very clean country, not just in terms of physically, the streets are clean, but also in terms of we talk about bribery. It's because if the pillars of Singapore
Mm.
are well fed, well taken care of, they are less easily tempted.
Mm.
Right? It is human nature. It is human nature. So as a Singaporean, I would say sometimes I listen to people around me. Of course, not my friends, because if any of my friends say that, they immediately get a slap from me
Yeah.
on the train, or because it's a hot topic. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, we should do this. We should do this. I'm like thinking, if you can talk so much, why don't you go and do it? Right? For me, I feel you go and do it. You go and do it. You show that it can be done. At the amount of remuneration that you are talking about, and then I will say, okay, it can be done. But I don't think so. I really don't think so. You don't see the amount. You see that they everybody. I think people only see the talks that they give and all
Mm.
that. But for them to be able to talk like that, how much thought have they put behind that speech?
Mm.
How many people come together and talk about how should we put it across in a way that is truthful, that is authentic, that's not going to scare the shit out of Singaporeans? Because as a Singaporean, I will also say this: we are entitled, and most of us are weak in the mind. Okay, this I talk about myself lah, because I'm a Singaporean. I'm weak in the mind. You ask me to stay in the jungle for one day. I don't think I can with all the ants. I cannot. So I am weak. Okay, I have been very well taken care of in Singapore. And my biggest worry is might be sweaty, or there's no aircon in the MRT station, there's no shelter from the MRT station to my house because the rain, I take umbrella. These are my biggest worries. Okay. If you look at other countries, right, where let's just talk about business. In Singapore, almost everything is done very seamlessly and easily, right? We have a SingPass, it allows us to access almost everything that we need from the government, whether it's a website, whether it's even mycareers.gov, is
Yeah.
done
Even
using
even
SingPass.
voucher.
Yes, everything. You just, hello, you just, even the message is sent to your phone, and then you just click the link, and immediately you get whatever it is that you need to get. Have you thought about how much work goes behind the scenes for that to happen?
Yeah, a
You
lot
think
of
it's
brain chef.
magic?
It's a brain chef.
You think it's magic? Come down and you click the link. It doesn't work. So you click the link. It's so easy. It is so easy. So we should be grateful for what we have.
Okay, I'm going to ask a very, very strong question, and
I'll ask
I
a strong question.
and I hope Denise ready for that.
Yeah, I will be ready for
So
it.
almost every Singaporean will answer the same thing you just say, right? So they will say like, yeah, I think we are too entitled,
No,
we
not a
know.
lot of people say
So
that.
so I say, yeah, we need to be
We want
grateful.
more
Yeah,
and
our
more and
country.
more.
So what make different that you realize like why they say it, but when in action, is a different. What do you think is a core problem?
It's human nature for us to want to remain in a comfort zone.
Mm.
Let's just put it this way: we were born, maybe not rich, but we were born where we, most of us, has food, has shelter. These are the two basic needs
Mm.
for humankind, right? We have food, we have shelter. It may not be the kind of food that we want, may not be the luxury shelter that we want also, but these are the things that we were born with. So our baseline, in terms of comfort level, our baseline already start from here. Versus somebody, say, born in a very poor country where maybe they sleep on the streets. Today they have food, tomorrow they no food, maybe 3 days no food. Their comfort zone starts from here.
Mm.
So the level of hunger is way bigger if you were born in a circumstance that is very difficult and challenging.
Mm.
And I would say that the fear is a lot bigger because somebody who is down here,
Mm.
who started from here, number one, the fear of them returning to here is bigger because they know how difficult it is.
Mm.
And number two, their strength is also bigger because they know they have survived this before.
Mm.
Whereas as a Singaporean, I would say if you put me in a country where I have to fight a tiger or a lion to survive, I think I will die in 5 seconds. So that is it's human nature to, I would say it is human nature to want more, to have desires. But I think if you were to want to live a fulfilling life,
Mm.
we also need to do something that is against human nature, which is to look back and be grateful for certain things that we have. Even though we maybe have a gap to where we want to go
Mm.
as an individual, how how much we already have. I think a lot of people don't actually really take note of it or really think about it. A lot of the times we're like, oh, my pay is too little, etc., etc. But if you think about it, you have food, you have shelter. It is a lot better than what other people have in other countries. And I've been to many countries for, okay, let's just, okay, this is not a sidetrack. Um, this is in business in Singapore. Business is very everything, right? It's almost instantaneous. If you need an Aqua record, you just go online.
Yeah.
You pay money and it's also almost instant. You just key in whatever details you need and then bam bam, then you can download the file and that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
um, it has recently come to my attention that there are some countries where we should not talk about the country, but it's very old school where they are still by paper. You have to print out the paper and you have to bring down to the office for signing, for chop, and the paper and the ink you use to sign cannot be black color because it's hard to tell, right? It has to be blue or whatever it is. There are still countries that stuck like that. So I think for Singapore to be where we are today, it has so much thought and so much work has gone into making the nation a better place, to the point where sometimes I feel we are being spoiled. And if let's say there are people who say we should have free education, free healthcare, free everything, then we become like freeloaders, isn't it?
Mm.
We will become even weaker. You think about it today. If I have a child, I know that of course I want everything free. Of course, a part of me wants everything free. I think it's human nature.
Yeah.
Everything easy come is good. But I also know if I'm a parent today, if I want my child to grow up to be strong and independent, the child is going to have to go through hardships,
Mm.
struggles. If everything comes free to the child will grow up to be a useless adult.
Mm.
Just open the hand and the thing will drop into the hand, right? And I feel like this is where some Singaporeans is heading towards, where they want everything free. Like you have,
Because like they're talking about the cost of living is so high, and that's topic being always back and forth, right? High COVID cost of living.
as a
What do
Singaporean,
you think about that?
okay, this is I need to take some time to breathe because I'm a live stream. I should not start scolding vulgarities.
Oh no, I need to
Take
change.
a take an effing look at how many cars in Singapore on the roads. You tell me that the cost of living is very high, and then who are these people that has money for all the cars? It's every single time you go to the office timing, it's jam on the road. And you tell me that the cost of living is high?
Because in the car you don't have to switching in the train.
Okay, let me just put it this way. This is now most of Singaporeans' mindset. Is I have a Toyota is not enough. I need a Lexus. I have a Lexus is not enough. I need a Maserati.
Mhm.
I have a Maserati is not enough. I need a Rolls Royce. This is the disease that we have. Most Singaporeans have. It's never enough. And I would say it is good to have goals because it's the thing that drives you out.
Mm.
But don't say that the cost of living is high, yes. But I would say that we are paying not just for the things that we are getting, we are paying for a safe environment.
Mm.
We are paying for a stable economy.
Yep.
If you think about it, this is what you're paying for. Okay. And if you ask, and for those youngsters or oldsters, whatever age you are at, and you think about, oh, I want to migrate overseas, I will highly recommend that you go and stay there for at least 3 months, and then you decide if you want to move overseas. I would say most of the time you will change, because when you are there as a tourist and when you're actually staying there, you have to do taxes, you have to do living expenses, and etc. etc. Your viewpoint will change. Yes, the cost of living in Singapore is high. That one I do not deny. I mean, healthcare and all that is all high, but I would say that most of us is earning enough to live a comfortable lifestyle. You don't talk to me say you want to go overseas 3 times a year. That is your desire. It doesn't mean the cost of living is high. Okay, if you don't go for holiday, you can eat better food. It's like, oh, I don't want to eat pork. I want to eat fish and a crab. Well, then of course your cost of living is going to be high. All right, yeah. I'm so glad I'm a Singaporean, so I can say these kind of things. Yes, that's what I think. And of course, I'm also think that I'm entitled, because I went overseas to some very poor countries to actually do charity work. And then that is when I realized that, ah, the gap is so big. The gap is so big, and it's, even if the people staying in those places where I went to help want to get out of it, there is just no way for them to get out. It's not that they don't want to get out. There is just no way. They're stuck, so stuck. And I realized that, we are given so many opportunities in Singapore. We are given so many chances to prove ourselves in Singapore, to earn a living.
Also the learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we in Singapore, to be frank, is very open. We are like, okay, you should learn about other countries. We learn history, it's not just history of Singapore. We learn about China, we learn about Japan, we learn about other countries. This is how, that's why as Singaporeans, I think our viewpoint is a lot bigger. With that bigger viewpoint, we have more knowledge, we can do better things than just complain that my car is not big enough, that the aircon on the train is not cold enough, that the rice is not fresh enough, that the chicken rice auntie give you is too small, etc. etc. So this is why, oh, I'm so politically correct. That's great. I didn't score any vulgarities.
How do you see the public when people start post video of their
I
own
do not see
opinion?
them.
So you block straight away when you.
I swipe. So my algorithm doesn't how should I put this?
But do you consider that as avoidance? Like you don't
Yes,
accept it that
I would
you live
say
with them in the same environment and breathe the same air, and they choices affect your life as well.
yes.
Does that make
I
sense to say that?
Of course the choices affect
Oh my
my
God, the
life.
sky is beautiful. When Denise was saying, it's supposed to be night, but then somehow when Denise speaking, the sky bright up.
Yeah,
Look like
because
the leader look up to you, look down to you and say, Denise, you do a good job.
I mean, as a Singapore, I okay, to be frank, because I'm a Singaporean, I can say this kind of things. Because, if some other country people is going to come and say this, like, you don't know Singapore, lah. I'm a Singaporean, so I know Singapore. And I would say that it is avoidant behavior, because, but at the same time, I don't look at it simply because I know there is nothing I can do while in that scrolling
Mm,
to change their minds.
mm,
Does it make sense?
mm.
The only thing I can do is speak up about it, talk about it. But if the algorithm were to push me, social media were to push me videos about this kind of things, I swipe away because there is nothing I can do to change their minds. And it will, they will make their own choices, whatever choice that is.
Mm,
And there's nothing I can do to change it.
mm,
And it affects my mood, because this is the thing that is not so great about me. I am very easily shaken. That's why I have to be very careful about the energy that I surround myself with. Some people is a bit more unshakable, maybe like Anne, she's not so shakeable. She's like, oh, okay. I look at it so I can plan for my future.
I
Right.
can plan for my daughter actually.
Yeah, so that's why she looks at it. Not that she likes it,
Yeah.
but she needs to see the trend so that she can accordingly like this. But for me, I don't look at it because I know that I will be very easily shaken and I'll be very pissed off. And there are times where, of course, there are Singaporeans that I would say this, majority of my friends or majority of Singaporeans around me are grateful because that's the kind of person I am
Mm.
for what we have, and therefore, like attracts like.
Yeah.
So yeah, we I am not interested if for you to complain to me about the Singapore government, etc., etc. If you are doing something, if you think something needs to be changed, then go and do something about it.
Yeah.
Do something useful, do something productive, help out in whatever way to make the community, the society, shape it in the way that will be good for the country. Then do something about it. If you're not going to do something about it and you're going to just complain, 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 then yeah, no. I wrongly I don't have people like that because they have been distanced. Like I said, like attracts like that. So I am grateful. I'm grateful for Singapore and the foresight that Singapore has. I mean, the latest technology event we went for, the AI
Yeah.
event, right? I don't know whether you saw my LinkedIn post lah, but what I wrote about was the fact that it was chosen to be held here and instead of anywhere else, and there was so many people that flew in from other countries very far away, from Morocco, from Europe side, very far away, different time zone. They still come here to attend this event, to have booths here, to exhibit, shows that Singapore is positioned as a global hub for AI.
Mm.
Or that is the position right now in Southeast Asia, right? This is the current situation, but have you thought about how much foresight, how much processes, how much thought went into steering Singapore to where we are today,
Yeah.
right? 10 years, 50 years, 20 years. Every single decision that the government took help to steer us to where we are today. And I think that is very, very helpful, whether in terms of economy, even as an individual. There are a lot of opportunities why a lot of Singaporeans we work at MNCs, because Singapore government made the economy welcoming for overseas companies to come in and set up offices. That's why you can work at MNCs. If not, you just forever, I don't know, work as a, yeah, sell the chicken rice, right? Or whatever it is, you won't get that chance. I think that openness is something that a lot of Singaporeans need to. Yeah, that's what you're paying for, the high cost of living, the ability to travel anywhere you want without the pass, without the visa. You think that's easy? It's easy for us because we have a whole Singapore passport. It's not easy for other people. They have to do visa everywhere they go. But Singapore passport is, that's what you're paying for, the high cost of living, the safety, the passport, and all that.
It's okay. I can pay for visa any country if you would love to give back. Oh, sorry. I should not joke. Not allowed to.
No, not allowed to. But
I
this
think I
is
think because she's
something.
friend with me, so she see every time when I have to
But I always
pay.
forget still.
Every time I have to pay how much for visa, and she was like, "What? This is how much you need to pay for every time you apply visa?" I
It's
say,
not
"Yeah,
just the money, it's the hassle.
yes,
Because there's documentation that you have
that's
to
right."
they have
And
submit
then you have to take day off, and then you go down in queue,
to
and
the
then you have to wait, and
embassy.
then they take away your passport. Then if you have a work trip next, you have to cancel for 10 days. You have to wait for the visa to get back to you. Even
It's the
reject or
hassle.
approve,
Yeah,
that you have to wait. And
it's the
then
hassle.
yeah, you can't just go to the country without explaining. Like per years, I have to fly like just say 10 months, 10 country. It basically is stopped me from that flying quicker and easier because of the visa and the application. Like if I want to fly, for example, this coming June I have to fly. Right now I already have to apply visa from last month,
Mm.
right? To make, because now I'm going to flying in 3 more days. Just say, so I need my passport now. I cannot apply. So I have to, you know what I mean? Like you have to plan your life around when you to go to the embassy of this country, and when you in Singapore, when you in overseas, when you need to go for this company event meeting or whatever. So it kind of it's very troublesome.
It is a hassle. I think the money payment is the smallest inconvenience
Yeah,
among the
even I'm
entire
here PR
process.
for and that's when okay, so this sentence I can say that Singapore government very protective to Singaporean, and I think you guys don't realize that.
No, we
why
do not
why I'm
realize.
saying that? Because I'm live here for 11 years and I'm still PR. And that's how much to show you that. And I get rejected even if I apply for citizenship. Have nothing to do with my personality. I believe that, okay? But I believe in the safety of the government, that how much they want to protect the number
How
of
much
people.
care they put into
Yeah. So I don't.
filtering.
My daughter is Singaporean. She is the future of Singapore. Am I right to say that? I always joke with her. I say I'm a slave to Singaporean because I because when I'm flying with her, oh my god, it's so funny. I fly with her to Maldives, and of course she's Singaporean. Her passport. So
Everywhere.
so when we go to the immigrant, the passport, her passport on top of my passport, and she don't look like me, right? Because she mixed children. So the embassy, the guy there just asked me like, who is this baby? Why do you bring her? And why she's Singaporean and why you Vietnamese? And show me that you go back and you don't stay in Maldives. So Maldives, Vietnamese you can enter, but you need to prove that you fly back. You not stay there, right? And I had to show my birth cert. And then after my birth cert, they still not
You
under.
need to show Ava's birth cert also.
I show Eva birth cert. And
Okay.
even Eva birth cert, they not believe. And Eva start talk to me, Mommy, what happened? Mommy, this is my mother. This is my mother.
Ava must be feel very confused.
I think she get used to it now. Every time she fly with me,
She has to explain.
yeah, she always have to explain, this is my mother.
You should make a shirt for her that says, "This is my mother," and then the arrow
I should give, I should,
And then your
that's a
face.
good idea. I should make that. But to show you that, like, and I always joke with her, right? Like, wow, I pay tax. I feed you, I pay for your school, I pay for your tuition, I pay for, like, I'm basically a slave for her. But everywhere I'm flying with her, I get treated like a piece of ass, right? And as the moment she fly with me, they see the passport and she just walk through just like nobody business. So I'm happy for her. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that she have a future. Even tomorrow I gone in this world, I know she in the safe country and she
Yes.
have a opportunity to create her life. If that's something that you want to say, right? And that's why I go back to, like, that's why I'm happily pay for the cost of living with happiness. Like, you can see my face smiling. Why I'm saying that? Because when people say cost of living high, and I'm like, I'm not sure, as a single mother who pay for my own child, I pay for my maid, I feed myself, and I still pay salary for a lot of people. I don't agree, but maybe I'm foreigner. I don't allow to say it, right? So, but I would say that it's still very cheap compared with where I come from. For everything convenient and the quick and the speed of, and yeah, I feel blessed for my girl. I feel blessed for her alone, right? So next question for you. Do you concern for the future of Singapore? I know you don't have kids, right? But remember, Dom teach us one thing. When you grow old, the young generation will start take care of you, to be correct, right? I mean, like, the older you are, the economy affect by this middle group
Yes, I
age.
understand. It's
So
like how
are you
we.
concerned for them, and what have you observed when you have around you some young friend, and
Oh, I would say that there is hope for Singapore
that's great.
because now, or maybe like I say, it's like attracts like I do not know, but I have met quite a few young people, and they are starting to ask themselves the bigger questions. Why are they here? Purpose in terms of life. Not just that, but also I, they are. I would say this in my personal experience. The people that I have met who have traveled more, the more you travel, the more they travel, the more grateful they become for Singapore. Especially those who have gone on exchange programs overseas. Not saying other countries are not good. They are good. Every country is good in their own ways. It's just in Singapore, they understand that everything is really made very convenient and easy to access if you are a Singaporean.
Mm.
And so that's why I say that there is hope for Singapore, because some of the younger people that I meet, they are grateful for Singapore. They know that staying in Singapore as a Singaporean even have challenges, but that's the same for any country you stay in, right? But they are also grateful for the fact that we are well taken care of by the government. Um, I'm not saying that there are not people who are way below the income line in Singapore. There are, but generally, in terms of the population entirely, we are well above
Mm.
that poverty line or that income line. And I think a lot of the younger people, they understand that, they see that, because they travel. When you travel, you are no longer just staying in Singapore, because you see, like I said earlier, if you are born here with this comfort level, you just want better and better.
Mm.
If you go somewhere else where the comfort level is a lot lower,
Mm.
you understand how far the gap is,
Mm.
and then you become grateful for that gap. Not that you look down on other people, you just become grateful, right? You understand that their challenges are way more difficult than you thought they were.
Yeah.
You see them firsthand, you experience them firsthand,
Mm.
and then you are grateful for the gap. And that is what I see. There are young people like that now, and I think with the social media and internet generally, it is easier for people, for young Singaporeans, to see how other people live their lives.
Mm.
And then there is that comparison, right? Why is this person saying this? Do they not watch the news? Why is this people saying things like that? Do they not watch what's going on in other countries? That is what I have contributed. So there is hope, but there is always hope, lah, I would say. And
Okay.
I think with education, yeah, we will become better and better. I hope. We
So
just
we've
need to
been so
travel.
we've been doing YouTube for quite a while, and I think the most enemy that we worry and concern is the people behind the screen, and they start do things different with who they are in the public. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the type of typing, do video, talking rubbish, or posting that very toxic or negative.
Mm.
The next question I have for you is, all that people will have in any country,
Mm.
right? And like you say, you can't control it.
Mm.
And of course, when we're going to talk proud to call Singapore home, when we talk about the positive thing, may or may not, nobody here, but may have, and I don't know, somebody may throw something. How was that make you still keep yourself positive when you still live in a route that you go outside and you're so concerned about? Like all these people may do the voting, just say it, or they do the choices that they have, or
Yeah.
do the talking
Yeah.
that did affect the result. The end of the day, result is result.
Yes,
You see what I
correct.
mean? And
Yes,
we
I
talk
can
about
tell
that.
from
Yeah.
other country leaders.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like sometimes people on top talk very nice, but then below, underneath, they have grudges that they hold,
Mm.
and then they will do things that based on,
That personal grudge.
yeah,
Mhm.
and they don't have a wise picture to understand. For example, we're talking about that in private for the next 10 years.
Mm.
It would be tough if
Mm.
even any country on earth right now make a wrong move, right? It would be affect.
The situation is
Yeah.
very wobbly right
Yeah, and I think this will be worse. And I have to say, COVID will handle very well. So it's my first time in a crisis, and I'm lucky I'm living Singapore. So I should say that I'm salute to the way they handle,
now.
right, the
Yes.
cases and all that. So have you ever like worry about that and concerned about that, and what are your thought about that?
I think it comes down to my personality. I will talk about it from my personality point of view.
Yep.
Um, I would say with my personality, I do not worry if it's not something that I can control.
Mm.
Because if I worry and I spend my energy worrying, I'm not saying that I don't look at what's going on. I do. I do know the general vibe, right? But I find that it's pointless to worry about something unless there is some action you can take.
Mm.
And then for me, instead of worrying, spending my time, my energy worrying about that,
Mm.
I would rather think about what I can do to contribute back,
Mm.
to make it better, so that if somebody else were to share that same mindset of gratitude, of happiness and joy and giving back to society, there is, they know they're not alone,
Mm.
and that, then our voice can be louder. I would say our voice can be louder, because worry is just, let's just put it this way: I worry tomorrow I die,
Mm.
right? But what can I do about it? I can have savings, I can buy insurance, I can make sure my parents, my husband, whoever is taken care of. But that's about it. That's all I can do. And then after that, is there any more point to the worry? There
Mm.
is no more point to the worry. And I know I am lucky in this sense because, like I said, it's my character. I can just say, I'm not going to think about it. There's no point. And then I don't think about it. But I know some people cannot.
Mm.
So I would, but there's something that can cure the worry, which is action.
Mm.
When you do something, you will find that the worry disappears because you know in your heart you have done what you can,
Mm.
right? You have done what you can, you have contributed as much as possible to the best of your ability. And that's when the worry will disappear. You're like, okay, I have done what I can. That action cures worry and anxiety. If you are still worried, go out for an exercise or a walk. It will help to uplift yourself. That's how I did. Lah. So sometimes when I feel very down, or I feel like, oh my god, where is the world going to? I'm like, okay, is there any point thinking about it and feeling sad and down and worry and energy is low? There's no point. What can I do? Nothing. Nothing at this point in time. I've done what I can. Let's just go for a walk. Yeah, enjoy some nice chicken rice with my husband. Yeah, watch some Netflix, do more videos, etc. So that's me. That's how I
Okay, one
do.
last question. Since
Oh,
the live is almost over. What is the one last thing you want to tell to all your Singaporean fellow friends, whoever that watching this live stream?
hmm. I would say expand the love you have for yourself uh, to our country, to our home, to our fellow citizens. Not just love for yourself or your family, but love that love that you have for yourself, the desire that you want yourself to do better. Expand that to your country, to the people around you. And when you are able to do the expansion and to have that bigger picture, you understand why certain things are done the way that they are done. It may not be wonderful right now, but you need to look at it from 5 years later, maybe 10 years later, right? Like I said, Singapore as a AI or tech hub in Southeast Asia, it did not happen overnight. It's not like yesterday we decided we are going to be the tech hub and then
Yeah,
we became a tech hub.
it won't
That,
blend.
yes, there was work done 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So you think about it, especially if you have children, for people around my age, if you have children, you want to leave a better Singapore for your kids. You don't want your kids to grow up and say Singapore is not a good country to live in, I want to go somewhere else. You want to leave a good home for them where the things that we love are still in place and we get better as a nation, not just about yourself. So you expand that, not just everything I want easy for me. How about for your children? How about for the country? Right? It's like, let's just in a minuscule way, for example, we talk about children, right? Today your child falls down. You want your child to be strong in that. Your child falls down, is hurt. What do? You your nature is to you want to go and help them. But you also know that if you want them to be strong and independent, and after you pass on to have a good life where they can fend for themselves, you need to let them experience the pain and get up by themselves. So that is what I think we should think about.
All right, I think that's it for today. We have a lovely interviewing. I hope.
We have a lovely interview. That's right.
I hope I don't ask Denise too many difficult
No,
questions.
it was not difficult. I
Okay.
was it difficult. I don't know. I hope I made sense. And
Well,
I,
it
yeah.
makes sense or not make sense. You still share from a view from
From a
a
Singaporean
Singapore.
point of
Yeah.
view, as at 2025.
And it's not about everybody live here have their own But-
Yes, you have your own views. We have
Yep.
our own views. Everybody has their own views.
And that's it for today. I am Amanda Spice.
And I'm Denise the Nice. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Bye. That's the conclusion of today.
How
Don't
to
forget to
start it
like, share, and subscribe.
You are?
I am Amanda Spice.
And the stubborn one. I am Denise the Nice. We will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.